You know, some of the greatest Giants are those players that are sort of behind the scenes, don't have the big stat numbers, but really made something special for the Giants team. Well, today we're going to talk about one of those famous players that team and took that team to a championships and played some great ball as well. We're talking about Ward Cuff and his history coming up in just a moment.
This is the Pigskin Daily History Dispatch, a podcast that covers the anniversaries of American football events throughout history. Your host, Darren Hayes, is podcasting from America's North Shore to bring you the memories of the Gridiron, one day at a time.
Hello, my football friends. This is Darren Hayes of PigskinDispatch.com, and welcome once again to our Giants 100 celebration. Every Monday in the year 2024, we are celebrating the New York Giants because 2024 is our 100th season as a National Football League franchise. And today, we have one of their special players that not a lot of people know about, but we're going to try to uncover some secrets about this legend, bring some awareness about him and his Giants legacy and NFL legacy as well. Now, Ward Lloyd Cuff was born on August 12, 1913 in Redwood Falls, Minnesota, and Ward Cuff grew up to be a tremendous all-around athlete. Cuff ended up attending Marquette University and was highly esteemed heavyweight boxer for the school and held the record at the school for throwing the javelin on the track and field team, as well as being a star on the gridiron. Playing the position of fullback for the Golden Eagles, Cuff was part of that team in the first Cotton Bowl in 1937 against a tough TCU team. Ward was far from being the feature back in college, but he was an effective blocker for their All-American halfback, Ray Bolvid, and who was in the top 3 for the Heisman voting that year, and a talented brother rushing tandem of Al and Art Gepp. Now, the Giants head coach Steve Owen was able to navigate through the talent in the Golden Eagles backfield and choose Cuff in the Giants' 4th-round pick in the 1937 NFL Draft, the second of such drafts for the NFL, and he was the 34th overall selection that year in the NFL. The 6'1", 192-pound youngster was known for his blocking and stalking his shoulder to tackle the opposition when on defense. Owen loved smart players who were very athletic in his single platoon coaching era. Owen contrived the concept of having 2 squads of players to do mass substitution at the change of quarters to give his team fresh legs and wear down opponents. And Cuff was the focus of the rushing attack and a pivotal player on defense that countered the other Giants squad that had Tuffy Lehmans as its premier athlete. Though the strategy was very effective in winning ball games, it could have been more conducive to providing standout statistics for players like Lehmans and Ward Cuff. Owen innovatively used Ward's talents and even trained him to place kick. Coach Owen had this to say about his player, quote, "Cuff has a tremendous leg drive and an excellent sense of balance. I was not too certain about the third necessary qualification, but that was speedily discovered when we scrimmaged. Mr. Cuff has nothing but ice water in his veins. Nothing rattles him, and he looked like a perfect prospect," end quote. That's how he became the place kicker of the Giants. And for his statistics for the Giants as a kicker, he was tremendous. Now, it's not going to sound good to our modern ear, but for that era, he had 98 field goal attempts and hit 43 of them for a 43.9 percentage, but that wasn't too bad back then. And he had 156 of 162 extra point attempts in his NFL career. Many of those with the Giants, because he played 9 years with the Giants and 1 year with the Cardinals, 1 year with the Green Bay Packers. Now, at other times, when as a Giant, Lehmans and Ed Danowski and Ward Cuff would be in the same backfield, what Coach Owens would deem the A formation that he sort of transpired and conceived, and Cuff's services as a dependable lead blocker would be employed for those 2 very talented NFL players. And he was just a tremendous all-around athlete. Like we said earlier, some of the greatest things that Ward Cuff did was as a place kicker. And it's very interesting if you look that many of his kicking photos that you're seeing are live game actions where he didn't wear a helmet. And that is something that he shared with a trait with Ken Strong, a former Giant, that also shared the same thing of not wearing a helmet when kicking the ball. Must have been more focused on kicking. We're not sure exactly what that was, but what it did, it must have been his focus because he led the National Football League in field goals 3 different times and was the Giants' all-time leading scorer when he was traded to the Cardinals in 1946. And we might add, he had 7 touchdowns as an NFL player as well, most of those as a New York Giant. too. And so those are some very interesting things about the life of Ward Cuff, his seasons that he had in the NFL, wearing that number 14 jersey with the New York Giants, and said some great things. And after the trade where Chicago got the services of Ward Cuff, Wellington Mara called Cuff, quote, a giant among giants. As we said, Cuff spent 11 seasons with the New York Giants and even helped them win a national championship, a National Football League championship in 1938 on that very special team. He was a key player in there. And like we said, tail end of his career, he played with the Chicago Cardinals and then a year with the Green Bay Packers. He wore number 14 his entire career with the New York Giants, number 14 with the Cardinals, and wore a different number 21 with the Green Bay Packers in that very good season. He was voted into 3 Pro Bowls for the National Football League, and very talented indeed, and very special player. So we want to honor Ward Cuff as our player this week in New York Giants history for the New York Giants 100. Till next time, everybody, have a great Gridiron Day. That's all the football history we have today, folks. Join us back tomorrow for more of your football history. We invite you to check out our website, pigskindispatch.com, not only to see the daily football history, but to experience positive football with our many articles on the good people of the game, as well as our own football comic strip, Cleat Marks Comics. Pigskindispatch.com is also on social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and don't forget the Pigskin Dispatch YouTube channel to get all of your positive football news and history. Special thanks to the talents of Mike and Gene Monroe, as well as Jason Neff for letting us use their music during our podcast.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.